All right. So I need to make this because I need to address something that is going on in the news. We've seen, over the past few months, if you recall, the hashtag Me Too and the Me Too movement, which gave way to the Time's Up hashtag and the Time's Up movement that's currently going through entertainment. This past week, there was a story in the news about the comedian Aziz Ansari and the fact that he was caught in an awkward situation where he pressured a woman into sex who was not ready. And I would like to think that I've done a pretty good job of culling my personal Facebook page from, manosphereists, men's rights activists, MRAs. But I was really disappointed when I made a post supporting the woman in the article. It was like I fucking walked up to a Voice for Men and kicked it, and all these little fedora-wearing bees came out of Mom's basement and swarmed this post. And the big thing that everybody seems to keep falling back on is, why didn't she run? Why didn't she run? Why didn't she run? If she didn't want to be there, why did she run? It's not that easy. And the reason why I want to make this video is to address all of the people who are saying, well, why didn't she run? Why didn't she run? Well, in the late spring or early summer of 1998, I was sexually assaulted by a furry, a fursuiter / animator, who is exceptionally popular at the time. I was sexually assaulted. To give you some backstory, I met this person in early 1998, I believe around January of 1998, on AOL. I can't remember which room we ran across each other in. Bears for Bears, Big Belly M for M, one of those rooms like that. And found out that I lived in Orlando, Florida. At the time, I was in graduate school at the University of Central Florida. This person was down in Davenport, which is not that far from Orlando. When I clicked on the profile didn't have any statistics in it. But the one big line in capital letters, I like chubby men. And starts talking to me, and the conversation, I am very open with regards to details in my life. My profile mentioned that I'm a furry at the time. I was publishing a furry fanzine. I was publishing a comic book. I had been going to conventions. I did terrible art. So this person's like, oh my God, you're a furry. I'm curious about furries. Let's meet. Like, okay, we can do that. Sure. I was exceptionally lonely when I was living in Orlando. A friend is always a good thing. So we agreed on a day and a time and a place. The Denny's on the Denny's near UCF. God, I can't remember the street. It's been a very long time since I've been there now. But we agreed to the Denny's near UCF, where the old Kmart used to be. The Steak and Shake may or may not be now. It's been a while since I've been down to Orlando and UCF. So the first time we went there, I had like a couple stacks of fanzines, some comic books, some sketchbooks that I had had friends do art in for me. This was going to be like, hey, here's a whole bunch of stuff from furry fandom. And I get stood up. I sat in a Denny's for about an hour, 2 hours, waiting for him. And had some food and went back and got on the computer. What the fuck, man? He messages me back. Oh, my neighbors invited me to a party. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna let me buy dinner for you. Let's I'll buy dinner. You tell me where. I want to meet you. So I'm like, yeah, okay, fine. I'm a very forgiving person. I genuinely am. So a couple weeks later, I think it was the same Denny's, just because I did not want to drive all the way down. If you're familiar with Orlando, I used to refer to International Drive as the line of death. Everything above it, the local residents, everything below is all the tourists, and tourists are always poorly behaved in Orlando. So I was like, yeah, dude, I'm not going down to South Orlando. I'm not crossing the line of death to me. It was like, you want to make this up, come up to the north side. So he shows up, and my the first physical impression, okay, it's like you're not my type. Okay. And at some point in time in the conversation that came up, I'm what's commonly referred to as chub or chub. I'm a big guy. I like other big guys. That's just kind of my thing. What I didn't tell him was I was in the process of trying to lose weight in 1998 because I had just been put on a CPAP, and I realized after a couple months of living on a CPAP that life sucks, especially when you sleep. So I was trying to push my weight down so I could ditch the CPAP at some point in time. But I'm showing him the fanzines and the comics and the con program books and my sketchbook, and he's really getting, oh my god, this is cool, this is cool, this is cool, this is cool. Hey, I gotta draw. I'm like, oh, okay. So I used to have some old field sketchbooks, hardback sketchbooks with double ring bindings, and I had some of my mechanical pencils with me and stuff. And I used to publish a comic book. One of the characters was a bear. And he took one look at that picture, and he grabs my sketchbook, and he starts drawing. And we had some conversations on the phone. So let me kind of give you that backstory. This wasn't just, met on AOL, and, let's go. We had some conversations on the phone, and every time I asked, what do you do? What do you do? What do you do? I sell shoes. I sell shoes. I'm like, really? Okay, you sell shoes. You have an office where you can answer and talk on the phone, but you sell shoes. Okay. But, people are defensive. I mean, I'm defensive right now. I never talk about where I actually work. I try to keep a lot of my personal information away from the channel, just, in case I have some crazy stalker type. Try to make my life miserable. I've mentioned before that I got doxxed by a furry in 2006 and lost my job as a public school teacher in Central Florida as a result of that. So, I get where the dude is coming from. It's like, okay, you sell shoes. But he looks at my comic book and he grabs my sketchbook and doesn't have the reference material. He draws an amazing rendition of Walter Romaine, this bear character. I'm just like, Homeboy doesn't sell shoes. If he does, Homeboy is working in the wrong field. So we hang out and everything, and I tell him, it's like, I'm having a great time. It's like, anybody that I can just talk furry stuff with who appreciates this, I'm always happy to be around. But dude, physically speaking, the uglies are not gonna bump. It's like, you're a very nice guy. I'm enjoying your personality. You're fun to hang out with, but the chemistry just isn't there. Let's get about 100 pounds on you and we'll talk. No. I used to be fat and now I've lost all my weight. I'm like, so we can be friends, but that's it. Okay, fine, let's be friends. So we kept talking back and forth. And one day I called his office line, and it went to the answering machine or voicemail. And it was a celebrity's voice. And I don't mean like those old tapes that you used to order in the 80s, this was real celebrity. And I'm like, Homeboy is an amazing drawer, has the access to famous people, So the next time we met, I just like, okay, brass tacks. What do you do? It's like, and I laid, I am the son of lawyers. I laid all the information. I was like, this. Kind of a sheepish response. Okay, don't tell anybody. God, that phrase. Don't tell anybody. But I work for a big corporation. Of course, the actual name of the corporation was in there, and backed it up with filmography. About a week or two later, invited me to come to hang out at his house, and boy, sure enough, there were photographs of films from the filmographies that had like casts, creative signatures on them. Like, holy shit. So, we keep chatting back and forth. Again, this is 1998. We went out one day to go see the film Lost in Space. It was like in a second-run movie theater. It had already left the theaters just because, this person was busy crunching final production for a film that was going to be coming out later on. So we went out to see, Lost in Space. And at that point in time, I was unemployed. Well, okay, I was graduate student unemployed. I was going to school full-time, working on my first master's degree in English. But, if I could have gotten a job, I would have put my graduate dreams on hold. So, this person, like, I've seen your art. You're not that bad. I could probably get you a job at the company as a tweener. Like, Now, meanwhile, in the back of my mind, Little Panda's like, the fuck is Homeboy getting drunk on? You're a shitty artist. You wouldn't last a week there before they hauled you out and threw you out. I'm like, Panda the tweener. So we kept chatting and having friendly conversations, and then at some point in time in May or June, we're having a chat. I'll tell you what, and I remember this. It was when we went out to see Lost in Space. We were in my little apartment. I think it was Alafaya Trail. The complex has now been torn down and rebuilt. But, we're in my little apartment near UCF, and, we're hanging out. And he says, I got to ask you a favor. I'm always happy to help. Yeah, sure, what can I do for you? It's like, well, the company, even though we do a lot of drawing for production, we do a film and then we break so the other studio can do the next film. Then we do a film and we break, and we do a film. So we're just about to go on break. We just finished this one big film. We're about to go on break. We got to do life drawing. We got to keep our skills up. And, when we do life drawing, it's nude life drawing. That way, I was a former art student, believe it or not. Once upon a time at Florida State University for one glorious semester, I was an art student because I wanted to be an animator. And that was kind of the first fatal turn. I had told this person that, I wanted to be an animator. I took design. I took the first drawing class. I just kind of realized that it wasn't for me because, art professors are fucking snobs. Or at least they were back then. So, if they like, I want to draw comics. I want to draw comic books. Oh my God. We can't train you for that. We want you to make art that's going to go in galleries. And don't talk about the guy who did comic book panels with Bend-Aid dots because he was special. It was the 1960s. We were all on all sorts of shit. So, God, I can't remember that name's dude. Not Wittgenstein. Wittgenstein was the philosopher. Anyway, we know who I'm talking about. I can put a picture up here of some of his stuff. The art instructors then just really shit all over anybody who wanted to do, comics, anime, manga, even animation. So, and of course, it also didn't help that at the time, Filmation had just taken a shit a year earlier, and the market was glutted with former Filmation animators. So I was kind of like, yeah, probably not a good idea to go into animation. I'm going to go into English and get an English degree. That's where the money is. So, he had known that I wanted a career in animation. He had known that that was what I wanted to do. And of course, I was accustomed to the whole idea of nude figure drawing. It's like, that's okay. Naked person gets up, grab your charcoal, grab, your crayon, grab your whatever you're going to do, and, draw 20, 30, 40 minutes, and You know, okay. So, okay, you okay, new drawing, right. So, how do I fit into this? He's like, well, Panda, it's just, the company always gives us thin, height, weight, proportional, muscular models. I don't ever really get fat, rounded, curved bodies to draw in. Would you mind coming down to my place sometime? I won't do anything. I won't do anything. I just want to draw. Like, yeah, okay, sure. What the fuck? Why not? So, set the date, set the time. I drove down to Davenport, kind of hung out for a little bit. Here's some of the stuff that we're doing right now. They were... I can't say it. God damn it. I'm trying not to give too many details here because I don't want this person to get lynched. Anyway. So after about an hour or so of hanging out, it's like, so let's draw. Oh, right. Yeah, I've got the shirt and the pants and the socks on and stuff. Okay, so I stripped down, and he had this kind of Papasan style couch, and arranged me in the pose, and to my benefit, I didn't do the cheesy thing. I fucking hate when you're drawing like they pull the Titanic line. You have to remember this was 1998, so Titanic was still in theaters. Draw me like one of your French girls. Best way to piss me off when I'm drawing. Took that fucking line out there in front of me. I didn't do that. So he, put me in the pose and said, okay, can you hold that for about 30 minutes? Like, yeah, come on, dude. You got me laying relaxed on a couch, man. Come on, I could do this for hours. I could fall asleep here. No problem. I got this. So, sketch. Having a conversation. So eventually he's like, okay, you can stand up, get the blood moving and take a look at this. And it was a gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous fucking drawing. I mean, I will say, it was me. It was absolutely me. So I'm like, dude, this is incredible. Oh, you can have this. I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm not gonna fucking have a Flintstones caliber nude picture of me hanging around. It's that scene from Kung Fu Panda where, where Po and Li Shen, they pause for a picture and then you see an artist sketching. I'm like, yeah, I appreciate that. And in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, goddamn right you are. So he's like, hey, do me a favor. Before you put your clothes back on, I want to do one more thing. At this point in time, the trust shields were pretty down there. It's like, I've nude modeled for this dude. He says he's going to get me a job for the company as a tweener. Yeah, sure. Why not? Come on, naked. I mean, when can't you go wrong with naked time, right? So I sit back down on the Papasan. I'm kind of waiting for about 5 minutes. And, this I thought was going to be just like a 1 or 2 minute thing. So after about 5 minutes or so, I shout back to the guest bedroom where he had walked off. Just like, everything okay back there? Oh, just fine. Hang on, almost out. Okay, and about 2 minutes later, this person walks out in a full fursuit, a full bear fursuit. And I had seen this fursuit before. I'm like, oh, okay. And then I look down, and there's very human penis from the bear fursuit. People in the furry community call those SPHs, strategically placed holes. This person had created this fursuit and put an SPH on it, which is why the fursuit always had shorts or boxer shorts on when it was out in public. Not in this case, though. In this case, there was the fursuit, and there was this person's pride and joy, winking at me with that one good eye. And at this point in time, I'm there fucking naked on a Papasan from nude modeling. And I'm like, oh, fuck me. How could I be so stupid? Like, I don't think this is a good idea. Oh, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. Let me come cuddle you. I'm like a big giant bear. I'm like, oh, fuck. I really don't think this is a good idea. But by that point in time, he was on me on the Papasan, and, you know, I was a 29-year-old male, and if you touch certain parts of a 29-year-old male with soft fur, the body's just going to have a certain reaction that can't be controlled. I want to keep my YouTube channel, so I'm going to cut, let's just say, other things happened from there. And I was just, not a good idea, not a good idea, not a good idea. The coda to that story is that several years later, I learned that this person had sold that bear fursuit to a friend. Now, this friend, very, how can I put this? Very non-sexual, very reserved about sex, very, very introverted and especially shy about things like that. And I always wondered two things. Thing one that I wondered, did the person tell the purchaser that this was a former Myrrh suit? To let you in a little bit, in the fandom, fursuits that are used for sex play are called Myrrh suits. I don't name it. I just run with it. Don't have one myself. But anyway, did he inform the purchaser that that fursuit had enough fat man DNA from multiple people where, you know, he could kind of create his own designer chubby if he ever decided that he wanted to screw around with fat men? You know, the second thought that I had was, did he at least sew the SPH up? Or did he just bill that as a feature? Hey, listen, you know, on this fursuit, if you ever have to take a piss, you got a built-in barn door for that. I remember being back in the bedroom while all of this was happening, and every fiber in my body kept saying, get out, get out, get out, get out. This is not right. This does not feel good. Get out, get out, get out, get out. But there were a couple of problems with that. You know, first and foremost, I was in a Davenport, Florida subdivision, which is probably one of the whitest, most suburban places on earth, buck-ass naked with all of my clothes in the other room. Because, again, remember, I had been brought in there under the pretense of just doing nude modeling. You know, so I'm buck-ass naked in the bedroom, and my clothes are in the living room near the Papasan, and big old fat-ass me, not that nimble on my feet, especially in the dark, especially in a house that I don't know the layout of. A, would I be able to get all of my clothes? B, would I be able to get the clothes on? Or C, would I just have to grab everything and big old fat-ass buck-naked me out in this person's driveway, trying to at least put on enough clothes where if I get pulled over, or God forbid, a neighbor calls the cops on me, I could just imagine that call. You know, Davenport Police, can I help you? There's a naked fat man over in this driveway here. Yeah, here's his car. Here's the license plate. I couldn't run. Could not run. I had to sit out. I had to just write it out, and I had to endure it. Here's the other thing. In the event that I could escape, this person was uber popular in the fandom because this person could draw. And this was back in the late 1990s. And in the late 1990s furry fandom, if you were a skilled artist, you were at the very top of the pecking order. Because if you can draw, you can create anything that anyone down here wants to see. Now, the artist may or may not draw it. Some artists have very, very, very strict standards. I won't draw porn. I won't draw this. I won't draw that. Some artists are like, you know what? If the shit is green and has a federal stamp on it, I will draw whatever you want me to see. But this person was an exceptionally skilled artist. And as such, this person was exceptionally popular. So if I had come out back then in 1998, 1999, and basically said, you know what, this person lured me over to his house and sexually assaulted me in a fursuit, it would have been game over for me. I would have been persona non grata. I would have been persona non grata in the Orlando area. Absolutely nobody would talk to me because the prince, he would never do anything like that. Now, here's the punchline. You know, in the almost 20 years since this has happened, I have mentioned the story, and I have heard that he has done it to other people. Now, here's the thing. The people who told me about this trust me enough to tell me. What I'm wondering is, how many other people who don't trust me, people who don't know me, people who think that I am the fucking incarnation of Satan because they've just heard things about me. Oh, I heard about that dude, man. He's the dude that everybody, they took the con away from him and Furry Spring Break and they made this con instead. Oh, that guy's an asshole. How many other people has this guy done that to? Lured them in, lured them hotel room, a house, or somewhere under false pretenses, and then put on the fursuit. So there was no way I could have said anything. One, I did not have an easy or viable means of escape. Two, if I did, this person had the social currency where he could have completely fucking destroyed me to the point where nobody would want to talk to me. So when we're hearing about the Aziz Ansari case, I absolutely believe the victim. And, when I have all these fucking MRA dudes on my Facebook, well, why didn't she just run? Why didn't she just run? Why didn't she just run? Why didn't she leave? Why didn't she leave? Sometimes you can't fucking leave. When a sexual predator lays out a trap, and that's what you have to keep in mind. People like this, they know their goddamn craft. They know how to put out a trap. They know how to bait people in. And once you're in that goddamn trap and the trap is activated, there is nothing that you can do until they have decided they are finished. So when I see all of these fucking MRA assholes on my Facebook page, why doesn't she run? Why doesn't she run? She could have just left. No, she couldn't. This is a situation where Ansari had to get yes. Yes is yes. The same way that this guy in Davenport, Florida, knew goddamn well that if he didn't lure me over to his house under the premise of nude modeling because he promised getting me a job as a tweener at this company because he knew that I wanted to get into the animation industry, there is no way in hell I would have been nude in his house. The uglies were never going to bump. So I am sick and goddamn tired of hearing these fucking men's rights caliber assholes attacking the fucking victim. I'm sorry that Dude Bro made a goddamn stupid mistake. I am sorry that Dude Bro did something that might cause his entertainment to be yanked, and you're going to have to find a new fucking Dude Bro to emotionally invest yourself into. But all of this stupid bullshit that I am seeing has got me fucking frothed. Because absolutely it fucking happens. It happened to me in 1998. So don't pull this shit. She could have just run. She could have, no, you can't fucking run. Because sometimes when someone has power, either physical power or social currency, all you can do is just fucking lie there until they are done, And when they're done, then you get the fuck away. Now, here's the big coda to this story that I've been talking about. The person who sexually assaulted me, I had gotten a job working for a technology company in a Class 1 clean room, which meant that for 12 hours a day, 3 and 4, sometimes longer, depending on overtime, days a week, I had full Class 1 gowning, which meant hairnet, beard cover, gloves to put the suit on, take those gloves off, put other latex gloves on, and glove liners. So we were told, you know, if you want, yeah, you can take a shower before you come in, but don't wear fragrances. And, you know, anything that's fragrance, try not to, because particles could get on the wafers and that affects the yield. So I was like, you know what, if I'm going to be in a goddamn bunny suit, I'm going to start growing my hair and beard. And when I met this person, I was delivering pizzas at the time. And when I quit that job, I had started just growing out a goatee. And that was when I was invited to go over for the modeling drawing session. Once I got this job a few years later in the microchip fabrication plant, this is when we were still on very friendly terms. This person said, God, I really wish you would shave your beard. I really, you know, at this point in time, I had gotten in the whole beard community nonsense. And I was like, yeah, you know, I kind of like having a beard. The beard is okay. And, you know, I have to go to work and, you know, I got to put the beard cover on. And that means if I'm shaving, I'm going to have fragrance from the shaving cream or the shaving gel. And we're really not supposed to have fragrance in there. Oh, but I wish, God, fat guys, chubby guys with goatees are so, so hot. I'm like, well, sorry, man, you know. Our uglies ain't bumping again. I don't care what costume you put on. You know, Mr. Happy is going to be Mr. Morose around you for the duration of our time together. So I really don't care what you think I should look like. But when I found that out, into fat guys with goatees, I saw this person was featured on a YouTube channel. And the host of that show is a fat guy with a goatee. And I'm just, at this point in time, kind of wondering if anything improper or if there were any improprieties happening there. You know, again, I'm not saying let's make this a Me Too movement, but I think it might be time to say time's up. You know, this person is still kind of shadow active in the fandom. No longer actively releasing art because several num-nums about 15 years ago scanned porn that he had drawn and began circulating it, so he kind of got scared and retreated back. But the one thing that I know about predators is predators never really go away. They just find new ways to become invisible. And what I'm really wondering now is if this person is still doing what he is doing, if this person is still using his name, his trade, his body of work, his skills as a costumer, to lure other people in for sexual assault. But anyway, that's another thing entirely. The big reason why I've made this video and the big reason why I've told this story is I believe the Ansari victim, the Aziz Ansari victim, I believe the person who was in the article in Babe